to the comic shop. I'll let you read about Cyclops. I'll have you spending all you got. Jawbreakers is looking hot. Zach.
All right, one more time, just like Fred Durst. Let's keep rolling, 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 rolling. What? That's right, it's Left Hand Legit back in the house, ready to talk to all of you beautiful people out there in Webtown about comic books that do what? You know what they do by now. They move the needle. That's right, that is the sole purpose of this video series, is to save the comic book industry, to bring it back from death's door, to get that good fireman grip on it and pull the industry to safety. Save it from the social justice warriors who are ruining it. And how do we do that, folks? We do that by reviewing totally awesome comic books from the 20th century. But today, oh yes, today, Left Hand Legit has something very special for all you beautiful people in Webtown. See, I've had people saying, legit, 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 when are you going to review a comic book from the 21st century? And I say never, but they finally wore me down. They wore me down. So I've done something very special. And today we are going to compare and we are going to contrast two comic books from the Marvel Universe. That's right, we're going to go back in time to 1984 and talk about Iceman #1 in a 4-issue limited series. We're going to go to 2017 and we're going to talk about what? Iceman #1? That's right, in an unlimited series that ended up being limited to 11 issues before it was canceled. And we'll figure out why it was canceled, I think, here in a little bit. But first, we're going to set that to the side, and we're going to talk about this gem. It's Iceman. It's my boy, Bobby Drake. He's young. He's on his own. He's out for a good time, and he's in more trouble than ever. So let's flip this open, and boom, immediately, you know we have a successful comic book because look at all that action right on the first page. Action to draw us in, pull us right into a story. There's a battle going on, and we don't know why. We have to find out. And immediately, the first thing I notice is this amazing advertisement, not for Super Mario Brothers, no, buddy. This is for Mario Brothers, period. And not only is it for Mario Brothers, it's for Atari, baby. Something's gumming up the plumbing. Poor Luigi's in a bind. Killer Turtle's out to get him. Giant crabs are right behind. Been there. Fighter flies, holy cripes. They're all coming out the pipes. Mario, where are you? And what I love is that this is for your Atari 2600 kids. But it also is going to work because there are versions that are exclusively for Sears Video Arcade systems and Atari 5200 Super System. So, if you still have a working Atari, pick this gem up. If you also have a DeLorean, to go back to 1984. Anyway, so here's the prologue. It was a day, like any other day. The war raged on. The body count grew. The vultures feasted. It was a night like any other. The innocent was slaughtered. The survivors wept. The devils laughed. And in a fortress above the day and beyond the night, the master spoke. You shall not fail me. You shall bring me the one I want. And then this anorexic guy who's just, this guy is going to send these two to do something for him. Can you imagine that? Not the two I would pick. This is the ultimate soy boy right here. I'm surprised they didn't draw him with the soy face. Let me come up with a good accent for this guy. What's this character's voice sound like? We shall not fail you. We shall bring you the one you want. You know the price of failure. We know the price of failure. Then go. And boom, they disappear. That's the end of the prologue. So we got some bad guys who are a short, fat guy and a tall, skinny guy. Ultra skinny. And boom, right there, we're into a story about our friend Iceman, Bobby Drake. We're at Port Jefferson in Long Island, New York. This is written by J.M. DeMatteis. It is drawn by Alan Kupperberg. And I'm going to say that I appreciate Alan Kupperberg's art in this. And I'm also going to tell you that J.M. DeMatteis wrote a great story here. Bobby is basically on his way to his parents' house, but he's late. You see, he's got his little backpack on, like good kids do when they're coming home from school. And, you know, he's building his little ice slide there. Imagine Oreo cookies everywhere, guys. I wish Oreo cookies were everywhere. How many Oreos do you think are on this page? The answer is 62 Oreos plus the 25 in the package. You can color that in if you want. Richard Pryor, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Can we get a self high five? DDP would appreciate that. Muppet Babies. Huge, huge. This Dungeons and Dragons show, I wasn't allowed to watch it when I was a kid because Dungeons and Dragons was satanic in the 80s. So parents thought they were wrong. Qbert had a cartoon also. I would suggest checking that out if you want to. Space Ace. I don't know that one. I do remember the Get Along Gang though. And one thing you'll notice in the 80s, everybody was furry. Everybody. So check it out. So, you know, like Bobby's just going back and forth. This is what I love is like, this is like a teenager who's just gotten out of his house and he's just like super stressed about going home because his parents, Bobby Drake's parents are very judgmental. And he's like, and all of a sudden he sees this chick and he's just like, is that who I think it is getting off the bus? Mary! And he like swoops down and grabs her and pulls her up and puts her on his little ice slide or whatever you want to call this thing. And it turns out it's his cousin and they're talking about, you know, their lives and, you know, he's like, oh man, you know, I just got so many problems. And she's like, oh, do you want to talk about it? And he's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden he notices like these people walking down here and but anyway, aye. What is it? What's wrong? Wrong? Nothing's wrong. I'm just in love. That's all. So out of these 5 people, who's he in love with? I'm going to guess the girl here carrying the groceries. I'll drop you off here, Mary. Don't tell the folks you saw me. See you later. And so then he like immediately like goes and makes an ice pole, but his ice pole breaks. And I'm not going to say that this has anything to do with, I don't know, little blue pills that older men have to take, premature ejaculation. I'm not really sure what the symbolism of the pole he's about to slide down in and why it breaks, but it's kind of funny. So he falls and makes a fool of himself. And they're just like, oh no, run, hurry, Walter, run. And so her and her little brother take off, and he's like, what the heck is going on here? Dang. And he's like, man, where'd everybody go? All right, Mr. Freeze. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. And it's a cop. So you're the Silver Surfer, huh? Think you're tough running around our town kidnapping little girls? Officer, this is all a silly misunderstanding. You see, I'm the Iceman, and I'm... Iceman? I thought I said that. Wait a minute, now I remember. And you can tell by this guy's nose that he drinks a lot. You're one of them stinking mutants, like them freaks in the X-Men. Well, if you think you're gonna spread your filth around this town, pal, you got another thing coming. And Bobby's just like, I gotta go. Cool off, you hot-headed bigot. He said it. He said, cooling off a hot-headed bigot. What do you think you're doing? Cooling off a hot-headed bigot. And he's frozen the cop in ice. I don't know if that is appropriate. But Bobby has a plan for it. Maybe after you've spent an hour or so in that block of ice, you'll realize what a jerk you are. But I doubt it. And he like flies into this backyard, and he basically like starts putting his pants on. So it looks to me like Bobby Drake just flies around in underwear. I guess this kind of confused me. You know, darn, I can't handle stupidity, rudeness. Darn, I can handle stupidity, rudeness, crudity, but I've suffered enough blind prejudice to last a lifetime. When are people going to learn that different doesn't equal evil? When are social justice warriors going to learn that different does not necessarily mean you're evil? Just because you want to make America great again, just because you voted for Donald Trump, it doesn't mean you're evil. In fact, it might mean that you're a patriotic American who's concerned about the direction the country's heading in, just like Bobby Drake suggests. You'd think the anti-Trump sentiment in the country would have died down after the X-Men exposed that animal, Hillary Clinton. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. You'd think the anti-mutant sentiment in this country would have died down after the X-Men exposed that animal Stryker. So see, look at this is Stryker. Most people don't know that Stryker has been in the X-Men for quite a long time. He didn't just pop up in X-Men United. Find them. Find all the mutants. Well, I found some mutants in this, that's for sure. And he makes a plug for Dazzler's, comic. And then this, I love this. This broad leans out her window. Help, help! There's a godless communist undressing in my backyard. Oh, you got it all wrong, miss. I'm putting my clothes on. Don't try to fool me, young man. I know a sexual deviant when I see one. If my son were here, he'd have you in the hoosegow in 2 seconds flat. Sick him, Petey. Bite off his nose. And so she sicks her dog on Bobby, and Bobby runs away. He's so happy he didn't have a dog when he was a kid. And even though he did find a stray, but his mom made him give it away, and he was so embarrassed because he told all his friends he was going to get to keep it. And that's basically what this whole comic book is about, is Bobby trying to deal with his familial relations. But then he bumps into the chick again, except this time he's not Iceman. This time he's just normal Bobby Drake. And he knocks her down. And he's just, helps her up, and he wants to flirt with her, but the parents are just, doing their thing. Turns out they happen to live right next door to Bobby's parents. Can you believe that? What a coinky dink, huh? So he tries to talk to her, but it doesn't work. And then he comes in the house. Hello, anybody home? Nah, we're out to dinner. Sonny boy. Oh, I hate it when she calls me Sonny boy. Don't track mud on the rug, dear. You're looking great, kiddo. Got some color in your cheeks. Oh, it's so good to have you home. For crying out loud, they love me. Why was I so worried about seeing them? And then his mother, and I just want to preface this, we're going to find out later, Irish Catholic father, Jewish mother. So I'm going to read it. Oh, you could have found something a little nicer to wear, dear. Those clothes look like you've been sleeping in them. He probably has been. You know those superheroes, Maddie. They're too busy to look decent for their families. That's why I was so worried about seeing them judgmental parents judging his clothing and how he's dressed, and he doesn't like it. And so then the cops are leaving the station, right? And sure enough, here come, the skinny soy boy and the chubby little fat midget guy, who has a mushmouth Garfield kind of vibe going on there. Humana, 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 humana. Speak, idiot. Oh, I didn't do the voice right. Let's see, that's this voice. Speak, idiot. Have we jumped to the proper coordinates? This is it. Right place. Right time. Ha-cha. Hey, I bet there are a couple more muties looking for the frozen pal. Watch this, Leo. Oh, Ralph, don't. I was hoping you two creatures would simply scurry away to your holes, but since you won't, buddy, if you think that crazy light of yours is gonna stop Ralph Ratchet, then I'm not your buddy. I am White Light. And of course, see, this is White Light, and his name, believe it or not, he's actually called Idiot. And so basically this guy can do this really cool thing that they used to do in the 80s, where they would just have the guy outlined in pink. Sometimes it would be blue. I always thought it looked really cool. Here you see the pink and the blue vibe going on. So basically he mind controls this dude and is just drop your weapons. Oh, and then we get some awesome NBC Saturday morning cartoons. And this is exciting because what do we get? We get the Snorks. I'm a big fan of the Snorks. The Pink Panther and Sons. I don't remember this, but I want you to remember I told you everybody was furry in the 80s. And this is kind of the proof here. Smurfs, classic. Alvin and the Chipmunks, dually classic. Kid video. I don't know about this, but I'm going to have to check it out. Mr. T, yes, this is true. He did have a cartoon. Going Bananas, featuring a real live orangutan named Roxana Banana. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And One to Grow On. It is kind of the more you know sort of little PSAs. David Hasselhoff is going to help you learn something, kids, and that's great. And that's all beginning September 15th, 1984 on NBC, so you better be there. Yeah. Let me kill him. Kill him now. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. No, No. He's not going to let him kill him, so he has to put down the dumpster. And he just, like, tells him, go home. He's basically like the Men in Black, right? Where he just flashes the light in their eyes, and then they forget they ever saw him. And then these two, they go off on whatever that mission is that the creepy guy from another dimension sent them on. So now we go to the party, and I actually really like the dialogue in the party. So I said to Harry, a girl like that's only going to drive you to drink. Poor dope married her anyway. And now he's in a rubber room in Kings County while she's in Europe dancing with Italian studs. Just goes to show ya. Sure does. Need any more help, Aunt Maddie? No, thanks. Oh, Willie, what's it like to be retired? Terrific. Boobala! I can't believe it's really you. You got so big. That might have something to do with the fact that you haven't seen me since I was 9. Oi! I remember when this one was born. He had the cutest little tush. So your parents tell me you're an accountant. And then Mary saves him. She's like, we got to go finish that conversation in the kitchen. And he's just like, what's the finish? It's the same old story all my life. My folks have been trying to make me normal. You know the routine. Get a good job, marry a nice girl, have 2.6 children, 10 grand in the bank, life insurance, car insurance, insurance. But there was one tiny problem standing between me and the norm. You're a mutant. Heck, you figured that out when we were still kids. And so, she tries to give him some words of wisdom, but then Mom interrupts. And yes, Mom does look eerily similar to Aunt May, but it's not Aunt May. And I don't think that he's related to Tim Drake, Robin. I thought I'd find you two out here, son. Cousin Joel wants to talk to you. Oh, Robert, your mother tells me you're thinking of leaving college, leaving accounting. May I give you a piece of advice? No. What? You know what you can do with your advice, Joel? And then the father, you can take it and shove it up your... That's enough out of you, Robert. How dare you shame me like this? Now you get your tail inside before I... Forget it, Dad. I'm out of here. You can't just walk away from me like this, Robert. Come back here right now before I... Oh, I've really screwed everything up. He's walking, with his head down. Pathetic loser. And he bumps right into the hot chick he likes. And sure enough, she's baking brownies to take to his family. And he's like, why don't we just take a few of these brownies and go have our own party? And she's like, I think I'd like that. And ding dong. And all of a sudden, it's White Light and Idiot. They show up at this old lady's house and they just want to use the phone. They come in, they make her sit down, they make her and the dog fall asleep for an hour. And then, it's like, we got to find what we're here to look for. Did you find the location yet? Just plug her in, boss. The idiot will do the rest. I certainly hope so. For both our sakes. So Bobby's like trying to talk to this chick about his problems and how he's so different and they're so normal. And look, can you believe that they were actually young once? Same old thing that every 20-year-old thinks, And then they touch hands. I like you, Bobby. I like you too, Marge, a lot. How do you know that? Like, you just met her. You've been sitting on a porch talking to her for 20 minutes, dude. How do you like her a lot? This is not controlling your emotions, young man. You want to control your emotions. Because who knows, she doesn't know anything about this girl. Like, he's projected all of these thoughts onto her throughout the comic book about how great she must be and how she's wonderful because, she lives right next door to my parents. It's like a match made in heaven. No, buddy, it's just like some coincidence. It's a little coinkadinker. And here you can barely see their feet standing there. And it's unfortunate this was not drawn a little bit better because all of a sudden they crash through the roof and onto the porch. And Bobby is just like, wait, I got to save you. So he turns into Iceman, right? And she runs inside. And, they have this fight. Whatever. Let's just keep going here. Saul Brodsky, man. This is Stan Lee's right-hand man. And Jim Shooter does a nice little write-up on him. And in actually what's a classy way, he says, I'm not going to list all of his accomplishments because I'd have to do 1,000 of these columns to do that. He did a lot to help us get the comic business this far. Now he's gone. We'll remember him, of course, because of what he did, but more because of the way he did it. He was a fine, fine man. So let's all take a minute of silence to respect Saul Brodsky and his contributions to comic books. All right. So back to the action. Bobby is going to save this chick. Her and the brother like run into a closet to hide, and it turns into a time warp. So this is, you know, obviously we need to pick up an issue 2 if we're going to figure out what's going on here. Oh, Bobby, typical Jewish mother. She just cares about a little boy. He can't take care of himself, even though he has ice powers. So he basically makes the neighbor's house fall in on these guys, and it's just like, holy crap. But it turns out like he saved them under an ice shield. And can you believe that? He managed to protect them and himself with, sorry, not an ice shield, an ice dome. Very different. And they just disappear, and he can't believe it. He's just like, it's not fair. Nothing is fair in his life. And then sure enough, there comes Ralph Ratchet again in his bathrobe. I love that he put his badge on for sure. Everybody back off. Police officer coming through. Okay, Mutie, I got you dead to rights this time. You're under arrest. Oh, my son, please, help my son. Oh, terrific. It's that pinhead Ratchet from up the block. Is Bobby hurt? That thing is Bobby. Cousin Joel can't believe it. And then he just pulls his best Nancy Kerrigan. Why me? Why me? Next, the awful fate of Idiot and White Light is revealed. The mystery of Marge grows, and Iceman is more confused than ever. Be here in 60 days for Instant Karma in the 1940s. What? What does that mean? We're going to have to pick up issue 2 to find out. Do a couple more flips here. We got Alpha Flight. Who cares? Quest books. Yep. Oh, Frogger 2. Holy cow. Ooh, look at that from Parker Brothers. So this is an actual video game. This is available on your Atari home computer. That's 2600 or 5200. It's available for ColecoVision, which we had when I was a little kid. Technically, my uncle had it. I played it. It was amazing. And of course, a Commodore 64 is going to be able to play Frogger 2. So let's face it. Iceman #1 tells the story of a teenager in love. And that's, you know, always welcome, you know, especially when you're a kid and you're about to become a teenager, you know. You're a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old boy. You know, Bobby is expressing all of the same feelings that you have as a kid, as a high school kid, maybe embarrassed by your parents. You know, life is a mystery, as Madonna said. And Bobby's learning how to, you know, stand up straight in that world. And this was a good comic. I actually had a really fun time reading this. It felt out of date because it was just so normal. And we don't have a lot of normalcy in our society anymore in the Western world. It's been really perverted, so to speak. And it was nice to go back to 1984 and see a completely normal story about a normal kid with fantastic powers who's trying to just find his place in the world. And it was fantastic, a fantastic read. I own issue 2, 3, and 4. But I tell you what, man, I haven't read them in 25 years, and reading #1, you better believe I'm going to go read number 2, 3, and 4 when I'm done with this video here. Now, we got to move on though now, don't we? Okay, let's do that. Now we've got Iceman #1 from 2017, written by Sina Grace. Now the first thing I noticed was that Iceman in this looks a lot like the transgendered kid who won like the state wrestling championship somewhere on the East Coast. And, you know, everybody was up in arms because it's a girl on hormones becoming a boy, I guess. And I've noticed that is a striking similarity there. And that was the first thing I noticed about this. The second thing I noticed was that all of the men who do not have their faces completely covered look like transgender cover girl models, easy breezy beautiful Magneto boys. So and then the other thing I noticed is it looks like Bobby has A cups, and so I'm not sure if this is actually like Iceman or Ice transgendered man. I am already a little confused by the fact that Bobby Drake has women's lips, women's hips, and women's tits. So we'll just flip it open and see what happens. The Xavier Institute for Mutant Education and Outreach, Central Park, New York City. Latte? Check. Clear mind? Check. World-ending disasters on hold, at bay, or handled by someone else? Check. Time to do something for me. Single, not stirred, so he's gonna try to pick up a chick, just like in the last one. That's cool. Hey guys, I'm Bobby and Iceman. Did I read that wrong? Hey guys, I'm Bobby and I'm Iceman. Well, people say I'm extra hilarious. I'm an X-Man, one of the originals actually. And so here he is as a kid. Speaking of, there's a time-displaced young version of me here in the present too. He's a cool guy, but not as cool as me. So there's two Bobby Drakes, and I think okay, so let's read this. Bobby Drake, aka Iceman, is one of the earliest students of Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and a charter member of the X-Men, where he used his mutant abilities to do good. Recently, his time-displaced teenage self was brought to the present, bringing himself face-to-face with some hard truths about the man and hero he's become. Okay, and here we have some really bad art. Don't know what's up with that. So the Icemen are fighting. Come on, show me what Omega. I'm Bobby, not Robert, not Bob. I'd go by Bobbert for the right guy, though. Huh? I don't. If we're being honest, this is my first time on a dating website, much less one for dating guys. He's gay? But he was trying to scam on this chick. He's holding hands with her. I like you too, Marge, a lot. Now he's gay. Okay. So Bobby and his friend are fighting in some ice world, I guess, or giant building. I can't tell what the background is. You still can't tell what the background is. And he hits himself with a bat, and he freezes himself in an ice cube. And I guess I'd still be a winner if you had gotten me, but past tense? Does that make me future tense? Present tense? No, I'm just tense. Just so you guys know, I didn't make that up. Sina Grace made that up. John Sina Grace. Ruining comics like you ruin wrestling. So let me tell you a joke there, Sina Grace. The past, the present, and the future walk into a bar. It was tense. That's how you tell a joke, bud. Yeah, it's not my fault. And so like I guess they were in the danger room. So, okay, that's it. Hey bro, this is like bald Iceman, the young Iceman. This is the older Iceman, just so we're clear. That's who these guys are. So, okay, hey bro, sup dude? Date night? Date life, not being okay. Romeo, maybe it's time you changed your name to Reliable Leo or something. John Cena Grace, ruining comics like you ruin wrestling. I live in the Portland metro area, and I have a lot of gay friends, and they don't say bro, and they don't say dude either. So I'm making you a dad joke jar? What does that mean? Like I don't know what that... Want to come with us on our date? So Bobby and Bobby are gonna cornhole that dude or something? I don't know. Have fun. Don't send pics of myself and you on a date or something. My friends would say I'm a team player. My friends are also my family. If asked, they'd tell you that I'm ping ping. Hi, Robert. It's your mother. Nothing to be alarmed about, but your father had a heart attack. We are fine. He is resting at Midtown Presbyterian Hospital. Love, Mom. His Catholic father and Jewish mother are at the Presbyterian Hospital. And he just drops his phone and runs. Okay. Then he comes in, and this part is really weird because his dad's like this old curmudgeon. At least he didn't slide through the window, Harriet. My family doesn't quite get me, but who does? And, you know, like, Dad's just this grumpy Gus here. Felt like a damn heart attack. But he's fine now. He just needs to rest and take his lots of ibuprofen. I don't think she's even Jewish in this one anymore. And then, like, they moved also. His parents moved, and Bobby didn't even know that they were moving. And he's like, don't worry. We just put all your stuff from the old garage into our new garage. Which does sound like kids for sure. You keep shit at your parents' house for a long time. Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to return those curtain rods. You need to get your mom a certificate to the Bed and Bath Works. And is Deadpool gay now? Too? I hope so. And then Jubilee comes running. Oh no, it's not Jubilee. It's just a girl dressed like Jubilee would kind of dress in her same colors. And then this guy is like, there's nowhere left to run, Abomination. And she's like, sanctuary, sanctuary. Sanctuary is for churches, not hospitals, kid. Actually, most hospitals have a church in them. They have a little sanctuary where you can go to pray. But apparently Sina Grace doesn't know that. So anyway, so we have like this monster guy, and they start playing ice hockey, I guess. Actually, they're not playing ice hockey. They're fighting. This guy is never really explained. He's a purifier, I guess. Not like, he's not going to purify Bobby into like a nicer form of water. He's not going to get his pH balance under control. And so, you know, like Bobby just wants to like stop this guy from killing this girl that they don't actually introduce. And they don't actually introduce this guy. He's just like a guy that wants to kill mutants, I guess. He's like the Punisher for mutie killers. And he's like, you're an abomination, kid. And Bobby's like, oh, I'm going to build an ice wall, you know. Oh, X-Men 2, here we go. Come with me, I promise you won't die. Pinky promise. Damn, this is killing me. This game is over. I'm in here, Terminator. Before our final standoff, let the civilians go. And so this guy is just ready to cleanse the earth. Judgment awaits. And of course, Sina Grace has put a Christian cross on him because everyone knows that Christians are murdering homosexuals and non-Christians all throughout the Middle East right now. Oh no, that's the Muslim. I get confused sometimes on which religion is the religion of peace and which is the one that's killing everyone. You can understand why I'd be confused, just like Sina Grace, who wrote this comic. So like he kicks in the door and there's Iceman. Boom, 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 boom. Psh. The Lord has looked finally upon me today. I nabbed my first mutant. Once I find that little girl, I will be doubly righteous. Sorry, I had to change my voice there because I realized Sina Grace would want me to do it with a southern accent so that he's not just offending Christians, but also southerners. Noobs always fall for the ice decoy trick. Okay, so like Bobby Drake's like in his 30s here. I don't think he'd say noobs. Like he'd be a hardcore gamer. He doesn't have time for games. He's too busy saving the world. Listen, I'm the guy who fought Magneto every time he was a bad guy. I'm the guy who went toe-to-toe with the White Queen and got buffer for it. I'm frickin' Iceman, bozo. Learn your X-Men. I kind of do like that part. Okay, I kind of like that part. Anyway, let's turn it. So then Bobby is explaining to the fake Jubilee like what it's like to be an X-Men, and she thinks it's so awesome, and a real-life X-Men saved my life. And he's like, well, let me be the judge about that. Let's see what makes you a mutant. Please don't have bone-growing power. I am pretty sure this version of Bobby Drake would like bone-growing power. So it turns out she can spit, and her saliva gets solid. And I actually kind of find that fun because I like Morlocks quite a bit because they have useless powers like that. Hey, Michelea? What is that last name? Michael A? I'm just going to call her Michael A. That's your name, right? See, he doesn't even know how to say it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that's your name, right? And this is just stupid. You're talking to a human, you don't know their name, huh? You never know how far your powers can take you if you believe in yourself. Well, there, Sina Grace. I would say that your powers have taken you 11 shitty-ass issues, bud. But let's see. Oh, and and then there's the parents. You know, they're still there. He's just had a giant fight in a hospital. with a crazy Christian Klan guy, typical Hollywood SJW bullshit. And she's just like, you need to leave because it's not safe. The media's here. CNN wants an interview. And, you know, your dad needs to not have this much stress on his heart. Even though he didn't have a heart attack, it was just some bacteria around his heart or some stupid shit. So Bobby leaves, and then, like, he goes outside. And look, he's got his phone. Mother effer. Mother effer. All the way back. All the way back to the beginning of the shit comic. Look, he drops his phone in the hallway at the Xavier Mansion. Oh, but he's got it back right there. Great. Okay. What's that, Mom? Yes, I did save the world a bunch of times this summer. So like he hasn't developed, like he's in his 30s in this supposedly, but he's still acting like, you know, like the 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid he is in here. Here it is. Same. Except gay. Whatever. Oh, Dad, seriously, that would be awesome if I could bring my new boyfriend to Thanksgiving. Cross your eyes, nose, and toes. We're not stuck in a hell dimension or fighting Mr. Sinister. You two are the most awesome and understanding parents a boy can conjure up on a Friday night, walking alone in Manhattan without plans. Describe yourself in 500 words or less. You know what? I know how to describe myself. A big shrug. We're gonna shrug. That's what I feel like when I'm done reading this comic book, is a big shrug. This is fucking the worst shit I've ever read. All these covers actually look cool, except for this stupid... This is how we do this. See this stupid little X-Men comic book right here? This has got to come out. This looks like shit. Yeah, that's how we're going to make comics great again, is by getting rid of shitty comics written by this asshole. Just so you know who this asshole is for the 5th time. Let me make it very clear. Sina Grace, except he is not the writer. We want to change that. I don't have any white out, and they printed this on black. But we are going to scribble that out. We're going to scribble that out. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to cut this part out right here. You're all welcome. Yes, this is how we are going to save comic books from assholes who write terrible stories. We just clip that out because he's not going to write this anymore. And we're just going to fix that. Get rid of that shit. And we're going to just go ahead and write in here. There! That's a better description of what Sina Grace did to Iceman. He aborted this comic book. 11 tasty abortions. All for a conveniently low price of $3.99. Thanks, Sina Grace. God graced us with mercy by Oh, there it is again. Oh, and look, they're stabbing each other. It's silly. So we just got to get rid of this piece of shit right here. Just all the way. See, I wanted to keep those, but ultimately we have to sacrifice to save comics. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know what to say about Eminem's advertising on this. I don't know what to say about Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know what to say. Like, and James Gunn gets fired, but Sina Grace still has a job, huh? After this horse shit. Let me just help define these titties a little bit more so that we actually know Bobby is indeed trans. I don't want anyone to get confused. Okay, there. Make sure you see that we swing that hip, girl. This is terrible. This is terrible. John Sina Grace, the gentleman who was the abortionist on this, Should be ashamed of your shitty ass work here, dude. You pump this out for kids, huh? Unbelievable. I'm just like, I was in it for a second, until you took like a character that'd been around for 50 years and turned him gay. In fact, I got no problem with a character who's gay, but we have a character who's gay, and we can change it to be, we'll just call this Frozen North Star. 1 of 11, because Sina Grace writes shit comics. So this is Frozen North Star. He's gonna swing that hip, girl. None of these people even appeared. Oh, I didn't even notice him. Not there, not there. Not in this comic, not in this comic. Just transgendered Frozen North Star. So there you go. Marvel Comics. I finally picked up a comic from the 21st century, and it's this piece of shit right here. Can you believe that? So I'll tell you what. Does this move the needle? No. No, let's just be fair. This guy, it moved the needle quite a bit for me. Quite a bit. Go pick this up at your local comic shop. You know, you might have to spend, you know, $15 or $20 to get these 4 issues, but, you know, this first one was really fun. You know, it's a great comic book for teenagers who, you know, are having all their hormones raging and can't stand their parents half the time, even though their parents didn't do anything but ask if they wanted to come up for dinner yet. I'm busy, Dad. I'll be there when I'm hungry. You know, that's what that first Iceman. And then there's this. Does this move the needle? I don't think this is what we do. I got to take this off. This is why we support Comicsgate on this fucking channel, because of assholes who write shitty comics for kids. God damn, fucking, what'd they make this from? I got to get the power team in here to rip this trash up. So that's it. That's what we get from Frozen North Star. Just do this like Yellow Flash. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Move the needle. Hashtag Comicsgate. This doesn't move the needle. What this does, this goes in the fire bin. You're embarrassing comic books, Sina Grace. You're embarrassing yourself. Son of a bitch. Get out of here. Get out of here. Let the people see that this is testosterone overload. All the way. And you know what? You know what the real bitch of it is? Sina Grace didn't even read this before he wrote that comic I just trashed. He didn't even read this. Terrible writer. Terrible. Terrible writer. Shame. In fact, in the comments below, tell me what a shitty writer this guy is. Feel free. Tell me what other terrible comic books this guy has written so I know what to avoid. I'm done.